Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. We have a new version of Intellij 2023.1. It's not that new, but there are new cool stuff inside it. There's a new UI, and I've actually chosen to activate this new UI. If you don't know how to activate it, first of all, of course, you have to install Intellij 2023.1.1. Then you press Ctrl-Alt-S to go to the settings. And here you can see there's something called new UI, and it's only beta. And of course, as soon as you see something that is just beta, especially when it's something that is so important that it can actually influence your development and your productivity in both directions, then of course you have to tick it off and try it out, right? So go and try out the new enable new UI. I kind of like the new UI. Of course, you have to get used to it. Yeah, just like with so many things, right? You can also choose the compact mode. Let me just show you that one. So now the text is a bit closer. The file's a bit closer. Let me just disable the compact mode again, actually. Yeah, I think I prefer it without the compact mode right there. But let's go through the new stuff in Intellij 2023.1. If you don't want me to introduce these things for you, and if you just want to go through them yourself, then you can just press on help right here. First of all, now you have the menu. You have the burger menu right here. That is instead of having the menu in the top. So you just press menu, and you can go to help. And again, here you can see what's new in Intellij idea. If you press that one, then you will get this view that I also have right here. So new UI enhancements, we have already seen those. That's quite cool. It should also be faster to actually change between layouts. I really like different layouts. Appearance, and then we have the send mode right there. But it should also be easier to actually activate the layouts. I cannot see it right here, but let us go through the changes. Maybe we'll find it later on. So there will be early availability of IDE features on project openings. Okay. Faster import of Maven project. This one is awesome. So this one is very cool. I've noticed that it's much faster now to open up my Maven projects. This means that the way that it actually traverses through the dependencies actually has been rewritten, so it's much more efficient than it was before. That's quite cool. Another thing is that we can actually zoom. So we have a global zoom. We did not have that before. So view, appearance, zoom. Where is my zoom? Here it is, currently 100%. Let us say that I want to go to 150%. Then the file names are larger. Of course, this view right here, it actually did not get larger. But all of my buttons are now so big that I cannot avoid looking at them. It can both be a good thing, it can also be a bad thing, because what happens if we open a file? Then the text is actually has also increased. I think it's very good that the JetBrains actually look at these things, because developers actually get older and older, right? And we have older developers, of course, they would like these features, so you can just swap between fonts that can be read, and also we also get larger screens with a higher resolution. So and maybe sometimes we are presenting something, and maybe sometimes we are sharing a screen. That's also something that happens very often, right? And we want to increase the font size so everybody can actually see what is going on. So I think it's awesome that they have this availability in mind also. So yeah, and we have background commit checks. This means that you will not be prevented to commit your code. All of these checks will be done after you commit, and then you'll then be annoyed before pushing your code instead, which is cool. I actually think that if you want something like this, then you should consider actually using Git hooks. It is a file that you can place inside your Git hook folder, and then you can say that you want to maybe run lint, or you want to check for SonarQube stuff before you actually commit your code. And then if there are any warnings or errors, then you can stop your commit. If you want to do something like this, I think you should take control over those things yourselves, and you should not just have Intellij push onto you the default behavior. Yeah. So then we have the navigate to Spring security matches and request mappings. This is awesome. If you have been playing around with security, or if you have done a Spring Boot security implementation, then you know it can be quite a hassle to actually figure out which security matches will actually be triggered for a certain endpoint. And this is exactly what you can do now. You can right click on an endpoint and then you can say show security configuration for URL. That is awesome, especially if you have a lot of URLs in your security matches. Then it can be quite difficult. Also, if you use wildcards, then it can be difficult to know exactly which security matcher is matching this endpoint right here. So this feature is something that I definitely will use a lot. So thank you very much for that one. Maybe I'll make a video with some security soon, then I can show the feature in action. User experience full ID zoom. That's the one that we just saw, that you can actually you can zoom between in the whole IDE. So then your fonts get larger, and all of your buttons get larger, your file names get larger, everything gets bigger. That's quite cool, I think. Then we have you can save multiple tool window layouts. Yeah, this is because then you can have different layouts, and then you can save your layouts under Windows. So if you go to Window right here, you can have a layout right here, custom, this is a current one. This means you can actually rearrange all of your windows, and then you can actually save these sets of windows. Sometimes you're interested in the terminal, and then of course you want the terminal to take up a lot of your screen space, and sometimes you want to code, then you do not want your console to take up any space at all. You just want it to disappear. The same with the files, maybe you also want those to disappear. Personally, I have the send mode, so I press Alt Z. That's the key that I have bound to the send mode. This means that then I'll get rid of all of the noise, and then I can swap back to the noisy look and feel, where you can see the console and the files on the left side, and maybe your Maven task on the right side, etc., etc., etc. That's called send mode, and I think I will actually just use send mode for now. I might try it out. I might try it out just for fun. Of course, you can also bind keys to swap between them. That is the idea. So then we have new remember size for each tool window settings. This means that, as it says, that it actually remembers the size for each of your tool windows. So if you set one tool to a certain width, then when you go to another tool, then the width will not be set to what you set it to for another tool. It would be set to the size of the width that you actually chose previously for that tool. So it is remembering your settings per tool. That is awesome. I think we have really needed that feature, because it is so annoying that when you click around, and then some of your windows, some of your tools, they have very, very long files or task names, and then of course you need to give it some more width to actually see what's going on. And then you have other tools, maybe like the file hierarchy, that does not take up that much space, right? Then you can just make that slightly smaller, right? And the same with your Maven task. The Maven task actually don't take up that much. The Maven targets, they don't take up that much space. So what else? Setting to configure actions on save for new project. Yes, this is so good, because it has really been pissing me off that I had to set whenever I have these actions on save, I always enable the same actions. So I have this actions on save right here. I always look here again on this project right here. Right now I've not ticked off I have to remove the zoom. I can actually, this is actually a weird thing right here. I cannot press the checkbox because of the zoom. I'm zoomed in so much. But I always reformat the code whenever I save. I always optimize my imports. I always rearrange my code. The cool thing about rearranging your code automatically whenever you save is that then you can actually place member variables in the middle of your code. Then you just press Ctrl S for save, and then they jump up in the top of your file. That is awesome. That is cool. Be a bit careful with code cleanup. Because sometimes it will actually clean up and do stuff that you do not want it to do. So I usually don't tick off that one. But it's awesome now that it is actually yeah, now there's an option to predefine that behavior. Go to File, New Project, set up preferences for new projects. Okay, so we need to go to File, New. What was it mode? I just forgot. It's new File, New Project Setup. Project Setup. Okay, fine. Project Setup. I cannot find that right now. Maybe there's something else I'm missing right here. It says File, New Project Setup. Okay. It should be out here actually. New project setup. Oh, it's actually right there. I'm sorry, I could not see it. Projects for new settings for new projects. Ah, there it is. Okay, let us just go to that right away and then go to Save Actions and let us check these one off on because we want those to be enabled per default. Thank you very much for that. That will actually save me a lot. I'm switching between a lot of projects during the day, so that is quite cool. And I make a lot of demo projects also with these videos right here. So it is a bit annoying that I have to go and remember to tick them off every time. And now I cannot complain about that. At least I will find something else to complain about probably. But it's quite cool. Thank you very much for that one. Something with machine learning. Powered searches for classes in search everywhere enabled by default. Okay. Double shift search everywhere. Yes. That's quite cool, and they will actually use some machine learning powered search. I'm looking forward to dig into that one. I haven't tried it that much yet. So usually I use Control E, then I can go through the files that I have that I've recently changed or looked at. And that is actually, I usually navigate through, back and forth through the same 3 or 4 files a lot. So I'll probably use Control E instead of double shift. There's new notification triggered when Windows Defender. Yes, this is so annoying, this trigger right here. It should just say, okay. And now we can actually set it so it will not bug us anymore. That is quite cool again. Thank you very much. Again, the list things that has to annoy us every time we start up a new project in a new folder, the faster we can get on to the fun part, right? And that is coding and typing. So here we have the editor, option to specify placement of pasted content. Okay, now we can paste it at the caret position. Paste it above the caret line, or we could actually also do that before. You can just use shortcut keys to do that. I think I will just paste where my cursor is. Actually, that is what I need. But of course, if you're really good with the keyboard and if you can remember a lot of shortcut keys, then if you can remember how to paste it in on line on top of above this cursor there, then it will probably save some seconds, right? So that is also quite cool. Then we have option to show white spaces only in selected codes. Yeah, that's actually okay, because sometimes, especially if you are playing around with something like Markdown or also something like Cucumber feature files, then you would like to see where are the white spaces. So that's okay that you have some features like that. Also, if you have the triple, quote strings, Java strings, then the template string, also the template strings and the triple quote strings, then it's nice to see where you have your white spaces if you have any. Fill paragraph for Markdown files. Okay, so Markdown features that have been a little bit better. Something with JWT tokens here. This is actually quite cool. No spell checks for hashes. Okay, that was actually just no spell checks. This is also really cool. I have a lot of spell checks on weird strings that should never have been spell checked. And these are good examples, like a JWT token, of course, that should not have been spell checked, right? So that is quite good. It becomes smarter and smarter. Then we come to the Java stuff, right? Again, here it will actually look at the system out print line, and then we'll like to look at the format, and then it will tell you that the format is actually wrong. You should change it to something else. I don't know if I remember wrong, but I think that this feature was actually already there some time ago. But I'm not sure. But it's good that it does that. The same thing with date time formatter. Then you also get some help. If you, I think it was daytime format actually, where Intellij actually added some features where that could help you make a good string pattern. Yeah. Then we have Java 20 support. Yes, that is actually just by having Java 20 support, that's actually reason enough for me to actually download the new Intellij. If you want to do something in Java 20, and remember Spring Boot supports Java 20 from now on, so go use Java 20, download the Intellij 2023.1, and then play around with the new Spring. I think it's 306 right now, and use the new Java 20 features. I know that there are actually not that many features, but there are some cool features in Java 20. I'll not go over those right now. And there are also some previews still. Some of the features that I thought that now that is true in Java 20, they were actually still only in preview. Yeah. New Java inspections. New Java inspection. What does it do? We can extract. Yeah, extract method. We actually do that. I do that a lot. Improved extract method refactoring. Yeah, this is quite awesome. Can it go to another class now? Let us see that. Into a new record or being class. Yes, that is exactly what we need. You know, if you have, whenever your method is more than one page long, then you should refactor it. And the quick way is actually to mark some code that belongs together. Then you press Alt-Enter after selecting that code. Then you can say, please extract this code for us. And then then Intellij will make your new method with this code separately. And then you can give it a good saying name, and then it's much easier for your colleagues to read that code, and it's also easier to maintain that code. Now it is also possible to extract to another class. That was not a possibility before 2023.1. I was actually complaining about that feature was missing here the other day, so that is quite awesome. Thank you very much for that feature also. Java 17, what does it say here? Auto completion with the VM option. Yeah, that's cool. No one can remember all of these virtual machine options that you can add, like with the memory settings, the memory maximum, and the heap size and all that stuff. So it's really good that Intellij has code completion inside inside the VM options. Some more support for Scala. I actually really like Scala in the old days, but nowadays if you consider using Scala, then don't do that. Use Kotlin instead. If you want to go the Scala way, first of all, you have to go with new Scala build system instead of using Gradle or Maven. Then they have created their own system. And why? Why did they do that? I think that's when they lost me, actually, the Scala community. It was such a shame because Scala is it's a lot of fun to write, and it was there many years before Kotlin, and it kind of have the same. It kind of feels the same like when you are coding Kotlin. Of course, the Scala developers would say that I'm wrong. That Scala is something totally different, but it kind of had the same feeling. Yeah. I think Scala is not it's not a growing language. At least the last time I watched it, then it was a decreasing language, and it will probably only be used by professors at universities somewhere, where they sit and laugh in one corner and feel that they're smarter than everybody else because they use Scala and they are not going mainstream and using Kotlin or just plain old Java, right? If you go with Scala, then you can also mix Scala, actually, if you want to do that. So you can actually mix Scala, you can also mix it with Kotlin and Java, and then you can have all of those three languages inside your Spring Boot application. You will just create different source folders for each of these languages if you want to play around with it. It is fun. It is fun, Scala. But I would use my effort on Kotlin instead. It's just a good tip. Then we have something with build tools, options to create Gradle version on project creation. Yeah, Java SDK detection from Gradle tool chain. That is quite good. Yes. This is awesome. Because usually then you start up a project and the first thing you have to do is you have to choose your SDK, and that is just so stupid, right? That you have to do that. Now you don't have to do that because from the Gradle tool chain, then an SDK will actually be chosen for you, so you don't have to go in and choose. If you have a project like this, then you have to press a 4 as the first thing. I'll remove the zoom now. Now we have tried the zoom. Thank you very much for the zoom feature. Now let us please let us disable it again. So where do we have it? Where was it? Was it Windows layouts? No. Was it view? Was it appearance zoom? That was, so let us say 100%. And then we say go to the top, and then we say 4 right here. And then the first thing you always had to do was that you have to choose the SDK. And actually right now I'm using 17. I could have used 20, of course. But you have to set some kind of JDK SDK up here. Now you don't have to do that because that can actually be calculated and anticipated from your Gradle toolchain. Thank you very much for that. Again, you saved us some frustration. It is not the seconds that it takes to click all of these things. It's just the frustration when you actually experience and see that it is not turned on per default, and it's not like you would expect it to do. It's just that is what takes the energy. That is what pisses you off when you send in code, that it does not react and do what you actually expected it to do. And with all of these things, they sound like minor things. But when you are, if you are a developer that sits and code a lot, then you know that it actually means a lot with these things. And the same with navigation in a project. It means so much that you can navigate fast between files, and that it doesn't feel clumsy to go to a new file. Actually, most of your time, when your developer will actually go with navigating through your project and finding the right file. And that is why the double shift and the Control E is so important. More Docker support. Though I scrolled past some things. I think they're a bit boring, or at least they're not as interesting as the other things. So that is so let us just stop here with Docker. The Docker, again, they have the merge logs. If you don't know about it, then the services view is you can get that by pressing Alt 8. And this services window is totally underrated. You can use it for so many things. You can add NPM tasks, so you can just run your NPM task down here. You can add your configuration types. You can sit and jump between all of your Docker containers, and then you can actually see the logs. You can go in and inspect your Dockers. You can actually see the file system. So if you're not using services on a daily basis, then definitely try to go in and look here and then add some run types. You can also add JUnits for your JUnit test. You can add your Gradle and your Maven stuff, and your NPM. So I use this NPM a lot right here. I usually have a package file. I don't have a package file, JSON file right here. I usually have a package JSON file, and then I can run stuff I would usually place inside shell scripts. Place that in my package JSON file instead, because then I can have multiple command lines, and I can also easily press play on them. So thank you very much for more Docker features and some merge log there. That's fine. That's really good. Then they have some Kubernetes stuff right here, and this is also very, very interesting. I haven't actually. Where's this? I was actually looking for this, but when I prepared to this video right here, I think you have to create this YAML file first. So you have to create a YAML file, so it has to recognize that now you're playing around with Kubernetes. Maybe you have to install a plugin first. But now there are new features, so you can just right-click and then you can say new pod or new config map or something, new services, new Kubernetes resource. That is the thing. Okay, let me just try to see if I can add something right here. New file. See, there are no Kubernetes resource right here. Maybe it's because I need the plugin actually. But that is awesome. That's exactly what I would use a lot actually. Yeah, it's because I haven't installed Kubernetes. Okay, but that makes sense. But I'm going to use that a lot, because when I create Kubernetes files, then I usually go out and then I use the template. I need to write kubectl and then I need to use the template. A lot of times I actually need to read documentation because it's so complex. It's so complex with how this YAML should actually be defined, and the YAML later also changes format between versions. So even though that you think that you know Kubernetes YAML, the Kubernetes YAML format, then you actually don't know because it will just the version might be bumped 0.1 or something like that, and then the YAML format is totally different than before. So this is a really good. I would say this is a really good thing that we can just add our resources like this. That is awesome. Another thing, if you consider using Kubernetes, actually first consider using the cloud, because the cloud is even easier than Kubernetes. The Kubernetes, you really have to understand what you're doing. You have to know about scaling. You have to know about how the volume and how the volumes work, and the PVCs, the persistence volume claims and stuff like that. It is quite difficult actually. It's quite it is its own. It is a separate subject, the Kubernetes. But if you use the cloud instead, then you don't have to think about all of those things, and you just have to think about the cloud resources that you are deploying to the cloud. You don't have to think about scaling. That usually happens automatically behind your back. So cloud is a much easier, and you get more. As I would say, you could get more code out there into production with less effort. With Kubernetes, you are spending more time with Kubernetes. Also because sometimes these pods will not stop, or there's something that is now maybe you wrote some YAML for in the wrong version or something like that. There's much more debugging in Kubernetes than are in the cloud. So the cloud things that just work right. Remote development, and of course, if you're doing cloud, you would use Terraform to deploy all of your resources, because it is cross cloud. You can use it, but you can use it on all of your clouds providers. Remote development and collaboration. A developer collaborating, and then runtime. In real time. Oh, this is so funny. This I think this is a joke they've added this one. Is it the 1st of April? No, it's not. Are we an April Fool right now? No. Real-time collaboration between developers. We do not like to collaborate. And if we are collaborating, then it's through a pull request. If we are communicating, then it's through the source control system, right? Then it's through the Git base. And if you want to communicate a lot, then it's on a chat. And if you are forced to have a meeting together, of course we're going to turn off the camera, right? So we are developers. We are not business people, right? We don't want to collaborate real time, right? But if you want to collaborate, okay, let's stop the joking. Let's stop the jokes. That collaboration, you can't do that. If you really want to sit and write in the same file, multiple developers, then you can't do that. And I've never felt that urge yet. But I guess if you are, even if you're a junior developer and you want to learn how to write code, then instead of using this where you sit and type over the same lines and you will annoy each other a lot, then instead of doing that, then watch a senior developer code something, have them showcase something they've done. When you have a sprint demo, maybe it gives much more, and then you try by yourself and be stuck. By being stuck, you actually learn a lot, because you learn how to search for information on Stack Overflow, or to use ChatGPT if you feel like it. If you feel that gives you the right answers. Sometimes it gives you the right answers. ChatGPT. Yeah. Okay, web development. Let's continue. So web development. There's Astro support in Intellij, and there's TypeScript in Vue templates. Actually, instead of being happy for all of these features right here, I would actually say if you want to do something with web, then download and install WebStorm. Again, it's from JetBrains, and it's just much better for web development than Intellij. Intellij is the big suite, right? That's a big IDE that can be used for anything, but it is mostly used for Java. That is why we have the J in the end of the Intellij, right? even though that it's named Intellij Ultimate. WebStorm is better for web because it is minded and focused on that purpose. So use WebStorm instead of using Intellij. You can use Intellij. Try it out, and then when you're frustrated, install WebStorm, and then you will be happier. So yes, that is actually it. Thank you very much, JetBrains, for giving us all of these features right here. They are awesome. There are no doubt in my mind that this is the best IDE for Java development out there. For web development, then it is also really, really good, especially the WebStorm. But for web development, you can also use VS Code. VS Code is also really good. So right now there are those two options: VS Code or Intellij, I would say, or WebStorm when it's web development. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great evening, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye bye.